Can you hear me, Miss Janine?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you?
All right, how are you? I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, good.
I think I said good morning. I meant good evening.
Yeah, it's meeting should be in the morning.
I don't know what happened. I got kicked out, but I'm back in.
Glad you're back. I looked and you weren't there. I was like, uh-oh.
I don't know if I hit something by mistake. I tell you, technology and me are we're still trying to learn this stuff.
I understand.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Hey, Miss Susan. I see Miss Susan. Hello, Miss Leslie. I see you.
Trina, may I interrupt you for a second? I have Eleanor
Sure.
Kiesel in the attendees. She should be a panelist, right? Okay,
Yes.
I'll promote her. And someone else coming from a 718 area code. I'm not sure who that is.
Thank you.
That's Reverend McCafferty.
Oh, okay. Then I will. Yeah, Anne-Marie just sent me a text and said that he needs to be allowed to talk. Okay, I
Yes.
unmuted. Oh, sorry.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you, Miss Charlotte.
Oh, okay. I know I haven't been on previous ones, but I thought I'd come on this one tonight, Trina. I can't seem to get my face up there, but that's okay.
Good. I see you though. I can see you.
Oh, really? Because I can't see anyone. I see you, and I see Leslie.
I see you, yeah.
You probably need to go to the gallery view if you can find it on.
Whatever that is. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
And I think I see Miss DeLima from a 645 number. She said she was dialing in. I
Who
don't
is
see
this?
Reverend McCafferty though.
Somebody's calling in from a 302 and somebody from a 718.
718 is Reverend McCafferty. She's
Then I
co-chair.
allowed someone to talk, the 302. I'll let her talk too. I'm not sure who the 302 is. Maybe we can ask them to identify themselves. That would make it better.
I believe that's Miss DeLima Lott. Miss DeLima Lott.
Okay.
Oh no, that's Calvin, maybe Calvin Jackson. Yeah. Yeah. He's coming in too. I see him. The
Okay.
302-645.
Hi, who are you?
Trina, it's DeLima Lott.
You were right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody. This is Reverend McCafferty.
Good evening.
Thanks for responding.
I hope I didn't miss it. There we go. I have an unstable connection, so if I drop off, I'll dial back in.
Okay.
I think it's 6 o'clock. Reverend McCafferty, do you have 6 o'clock or a little bit after?
I do. Can you hear me?
All right. Well, do we want to go ahead and get? Yes. I heard you say I do.
Okay.
Call the meeting to order.
Yes. This meeting is now officially called to order. We will start with just a moment of silence as we pray for one another and for this country. Amen.
Amen.
The only announcement I have at this point is that the next regular meeting will be held on Thursday, the 21st at 6:00 p.m. Sister Trina, do you have any other announcements?
I do have one other announcement in honor of the Martin Luther King celebration. There a Monday holiday worship service where the Honorable Reverend Dr. Deborah McCafferty would be the speaker of the hour, and that is at 10 o'clock, and you should be able to, those who would like to attend should be able to zoom in on that meeting, and you can grab hold of the link from on the Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice website.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We will move on to the meeting items, and I will turn that portion of the meeting over to Miss Trina Brown Miss Trina Brown Hicks. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know some walkers. And I know a Trina Walker.
Me
okay.
too. Me too. Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So we don't have any minutes to approve.
No,
on item
4.
Yeah,
item.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at a double screen trying to see where I'm at here. So we have the first item is the review of the forms and the step-by-step guide. I believe everyone should have received the step-by-step guide. And if you have not, there's a link on the agenda if you have it open that you can look at that. And hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review that. And I was just, if you have any questions or concerns about, because it's like a 14-page document. So if you have any questions or concerns about was in that information, we can have a discussion about it. It was very thorough, and you should be able to follow it step by step. I don't know if we really need to look at it line by line. Dr. McCafferty, what are your recommendations?
if I had to unmute myself, if they have been reviewed already, unless someone has any specific comments or questions, I think we can move on.
So did anyone have any comments or questions about that document? It's very thorough. It goes over almost anything and everything that you could think of if you had to do, if you are in a oral history type setting. So okay, hearing no questions or concerns about that document. Of course, if there are any questions as you continue to look at that document, you can always contact Reverend McCafferty or myself. The next item we had was the waiver form, which was also sent to everyone. And it's really important when we look at doing oral histories or maybe even possibly obtaining objects that we may have to borrow or document, that we initiate a waiver form. And of course, that waiver form is to prevent any liability on us as a commission and volunteers. And I hope you have all had an opportunity to look at that. And if there,
I just want to clarify that the form is titled release form, that's the same thing that you're talking about as the waiver form.
yes. The next item that we had was the historic submission forms. I may have missed that one at the beginning, but that's the document that if there's an item or event or something that you want to cover, that you complete that form and submit it to the commission for review. And I sent out an example a little while ago about that, the one that I had completed. And if there are any questions about how to complete that, then just let us know. If you have any concerns about it today.
So those are the ones that have been submitted to the commission pending approval, or those ones that have been approved?
They have been submitted to the commission for review, and there were no objections to during the commission meeting concerning those that were submitted. And then moving on, I don't hear any questions or concerns about that. We have, and I attached the bylaws, vision and goal and the mission, and also the scope of responsibility. Again, those had already been sent out before, but I just thought that it might be good to, since this is our first really main volunteer meeting, if there was any questions or concerns about those two documents as well. Hearing no,
I'm sorry to keep being one. Are those
nothing.
on a
That's okay.
website somewhere?
They are not on the.
So that they're public.
I did not see it attached, but I did ask Ms. Anne Marie to attach that to our link on our city website. So, but I haven't seen it yet.
Are you talking about the attachments that are attached to the agenda?
The bylaws,
Okay,
the bylaws, the mission and goals.
I can do that.
They are attached to the agenda, but those
They need to go
were
under your commission on the main website. Is that what you mean?
that were asked to be put on our. Yes.
I can do that.
Okay, appreciate that. I don't know if the other ones, Reverend McCafferty, if the other ones necessarily have to go on our website.
I don't think that they do, but I agree that the bylaws and vision and goals should be attached on our website.
Mhm. So I know that there may have been some, questions that the volunteers may have that we can address this evening. There's an opportunity to do so. And if we need to go back and for additional information, we can do that. But if any of the volunteers that are on this evening had any questions concerning, where to go, what they need to do, I think we had a good everyone had a good session who attended with Miss Clemens at the Lewis Historical Society. She gave some valuable tips on how to do research and where we need to go. So if anybody had any questions about, I think some people had some interest on where they wanted to start. Yes, Miss Leslie, I see your hand raised.
When we're given the go-ahead to start, although I kind of screwed up, but if when we interview, the first person we interview then mentions some names to further where our focus is, do we have to get approval then before we contact those names if we want to interview them as well, or can we go ahead and then contact?
I think it should be documented. Reverend McCafferty, what do you think about that? That if there's further leads to additional information that maybe we need to have that on record.
Your regard is,
Dr.
excuse me. Oh, yeah. Am I on mute?
I can hear you now. Oh, you're on mute now.
Okay, now I'm unmuted.
Now you're good.
Okay, thank you. If the project that they have requested has already been approved for the commission, I don't think we have to go back to them if they find additional leads. That I think they could proceed with the leads if it's pertaining to their original submission of what they're doing.
Okay, got you. As long as it's alongside of the same one and not a different one.
Right.
Is that correct? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. But the waiver form would have to be utilized for everyone that would be discussed or have a discussion with.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'd like to ask how, or if any of the volunteers would like to just discuss a little bit and tell us how you're doing on your projects, and if you see any difficulty, or if you think that you're able to continue without any problem.
I'll say something. I'm actually on the little group that's doing the historical marker for Peter Lewis, or the Methodist Church, or the shipbuilding industry. And we do have on our committee, Rick Moore has agreed to attend. Reverend McCafferty has agreed to attend. We have heard Russ McCabe, who was the state archivist, who's now retired and lives in Milton. He's had a love of Henry Lewis and has a real passion to work on this. So he is going to be a participant. Marcos from the Lewis Historical Society, who is the education person there. He's remarkable, and he's going to be on our committee, and myself. And so it's a long process. It really is, but we're just, oh, and we also got permission from Denise, from the archivist from the Delaware Historical Society, the Lewis Historical Society. Denise is gonna also help us as well. So we got a good group of people. If anybody else wants to be a part of that, let me know. Yeah, so that's where we are.
Yes, you've done a
Miss-
tremendous job,
Miss Rachel, I think
and-
it's good that you
What? I didn't hear you, Trina.
I think it's good that you're pulling. I was just commenting. I think it's good that you are pulling from different and various resources that to get good and full and complete picture of information.
Yeah.
And I know it'd probably be a lot that you will get, and then you'll have to condense into whatever it needs to be.
Well, Russ McCabe, when I spoke to him, he said, "Oh my gosh, he retired just after they got the marker across from the cemetery and the church on Pilottown Road." And he said, "I really wanted a lot more information about Peter Lewis, and not just about shipbuilding, although he was not only known in Lewis, he was also known in Philadelphia as a shipbuilder and also as a church minister. And he worked with Richard Allen and really helped start the first Black church in in Lewis. And just a remarkable man. But he said, this is really interesting. He said that there are a lot of Lewises around, and it's hard to know who's a Lewis, who's Black, who's white, because his owner, his father's owner, Cato Lewis's owner was, I'm forgetting his first name, but Wickham Lewis. And so Cato was named after him. And then Cato's two boys were freed, and then Cato was freed. And so there are a lot of Lewises around here. And so both Marcos and Russ McCabe said it might be really hard to identify exactly who's doing what, but they're on it and they're up for it. So, yeah.
I thank you, Miss Rachel. You've done a great job, and your report is very comprehensive. And I'm glad that you reached out to Russ McCabe, because, as you said, even before he retired, We had many discussions, and he was very interested in getting some kind of marker or acknowledgement for Peter Lewis and his family. Thank you.
I did, Reverend McCafferty, I did share with him the pages from the book that you shared with me. And he said, oh, I'll be on it if she's on it. So he's very excited that you are also part of this group. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And so now that we have the okay to go ahead, I will also be beginning the project that I am interested in, and which is, of course, something that's near and dear to me, which would be the Happy Day Club and its history in the baseball team that was attached to it, which was an African-American baseball team. And they also had a women's team, I'm finding out recently on that. So, and they played in the field where Ship Carpenter Square is. So, and they played all teams all over the state and Maryland and Virginia. So they weren't the Satchel Pages, but for our time and for what it was, and I witnessed
We lost you. I'm going to text her and let her know we lost her.
Can I just say something while we're waiting? Trina already knows this, but from March I think it's February the 15th to March the 15th, Peninsula Gallery is showing a show of Dane Tillman's artwork. And Dane Tillman did a show here, I think 2 years ago. And he's an African-American artist from just outside Philadelphia. And he came here and made a tour of the Lewis Historical Society and the archives and looked at pictures. And he was going to do a show on paintings from the age of African-Americans in Lewis after the Jim Crow era. And so that'll be at the Peninsula Gallery on Savannah Road, right over the bridge on the beach side. So I ask all of you to stay tuned for that. And again, it's a Peninsula Art Gallery.
Oh, that's great. Do you have any information as pertaining to the date?
I can look at it real quick. I can tell you real quick.
Okay.
Oops.
So this is Susan, and I have not started work. I did the tour with the archivist, but I was sort of waiting to see where where someone needed some help, and so there are some of these that are listed on the submissions that are very interesting, but if they've already been done, then that doesn't make sense. So I guess I'm sort of looking for some direction on where I could be helpful.
Oh, that's great. Well, do you have passion for any of the items that you've seen?
Well, I have an interest in education, so the Lewis schools, and also on the beach, the segregated beach would be things, but I would also be interested in things about BB Hospital, the Gooch, and the nurse, Elsie Wingo. So
Okay, well, we'll make sure that you get paired up or able to join, and we'll see who's already working on any of these areas, and we'll make sure that you can work with them. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Leslie has her hand up. I'm not sure if you can see that, Reverend McCafferty.
I'm on the phone, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm working, Susan, on the schools, the Lewis schools. So if you would like to work, I think it might be helpful if we knew, who was working on what. So if we wanted to join forces, because it seems like maybe there might be duplicates if we don't. So, I'd be glad for you if you wanted to work with me on the Lewis schools. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Oh.
this is sorry.
No, go ahead.
This is Eleanor. I was thinking the same thing, particularly even with the oral histories. If someone comes along, another lead for another person, there could be someone else that's already interviewing or contacted that person. So I was thinking the same thing with the items. It would be nice to know who really specifically is working on what. Really, I mean, the thing that I was interested in is really kind of not on this list, so I'm not quite sure where I am with it. But I'm just interested basically in what life was like for women in early, mid 1800s, maybe pre-Civil War and after Civil War, and plan to really just sit myself in the archives and look at whatever information is there, the Women's Community Organization. And I loved what Trina just said about finding out about a women's baseball team and what era and what time frame, that was. But I could see where there could be an awful lot of overlap for a lot of us. And the other thing is too, I haven't started either. I'm with Susan. I did the original tour with Denise, and then, I teach and work at DSU, so I thought I'd wait till the end of the semester, and then by the time I got in contact with her, the library was closed for the holidays. And so it's also tough for me time-wise because my work requires a lot, but I am still interested and, really want to keep up with other people or what other people are doing, and hopefully can jump in at some point.
I think that your idea of women, because I think that just slipped our mind, but that's excellent. And I think that's a project that should be pursued, the women in the early, mid 1800s. And the idea about us giving you all the different committees and who's working on them, we'll get that information out to you.
Yeah, it would.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly that if anyone has read, I can't think of the name of the book now, by Angela Davis, where she looks at life, what life was like for women in the 1920s, and through their music, Ma Rainey's music, and the lyrics that were written for that music. It would be nice to kind of explore, like narrow it, and I'm thinking about for myself, narrowing it down somehow to explore life, whether it's through the community organization, through the women's baseball team, or, the church histories or Bibles, family Bibles, however that is.
Okay.
Susan Nogan has her hand up.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm another one of the people working on the education aspect. And I've been working with Ms. Clemens at the archives and have a bunch of boxes and folders of Hazel Brittingham's files that I need to go through to see if there's anything there. And one of the issues is there material available to us for the research? And my sense is that the archives might not have everything that we're looking for. We might need to go to Department of Education files,
Right.
archives at either Dell State or UDEL to get into what was really going on. But I can see us also dividing it into the pre-Brown era, like what education was available to the African American community before the case. And I know that there was no high school in Sussex County, right? So that's one aspect. Then Delaware was one of the 5 cases in Brown, so that's another aspect to it. And another issue that intrigues me is whether there was any kind of Lewis connection to the Milford school closure as part of massive resistance.
I think there was a high school in Georgetown.
Okay, then that's something that we definitely need to, because the research that I've done so far was that there was nothing before 1950.
Yeah, I'm not really sure when that was developed, but I don't think they had to go to Wilmington, although a lot of kids did go to Wilmington.
There was one in Dover, I think. But anyway, those are the distinctions that would help us delegate the parts of this project, of the pre-Brown, the transition to Brown, and post-Brown. But the other aspect that I'm trying to look at is the impact on African American educators. Because in other parts of the country where Black schools were closed, Black teachers got fired. And that's part of the story that has not really been told. It's all about making opportunities for children and not how this impacted the adults. And principals got demoted, and it was just another opportunity to practice discrimination.
Yes. Oh, that's okay. That's good. And I might have some information that I can send you.
That would be awesome.
Okay. Sister Trina says she was trying to get on another device.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. Oh yeah, we hear you. Good.
I just can't figure out how to get the camera back on.
So
I want me to go to my settings. I am.
Yeah, Miss Nogan or anyone. My phone number is 718-673-1289, I think. And that's it. So I will, if you will text me, I will, and give me your information of how I can get it to you. That would be good.
Let me just make sure I have the number right. 718-673-1289.
That's correct.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay, doke. Is there anyone else? This is very good. You are making some headway, and it might be a long, arduous haul, H-A-U-L, because our history isn't as available as other people. So I appreciate you, all of you, going the extra mile.
This is the other
Anyone else?
Susan, and I'm curious with the information about the schools and the implications. Probably what happened in Lewis would not be that different from what happened in other places in Sussex County. And I don't know whether we are, because you were talking about Brown versus Board of Education and some of these things which are, and the lack of a high school in Sussex County anywhere, and whether there was a school in Georgetown. So I guess I just need to be clear about whether there are, because this is the Lewis, you know, whether we're to limit what we talk about just to the impacts within Lewis and what might have happened with educators, for instance, or whether we can be more generic about the effect sort of on the larger Sussex community with these big issues.
Yes, I think we want to concentrate on Lewis, and if there was no schools here, then that's part of the history here. I don't have a date, but you know the old schoolhouse, the colored school on Park Avenue. I have a picture of one picture of a class, and it wasn't just one class, it was all ages. So it wasn't a high school or elementary school. But there was a school right here on Park Avenue.
That would be a great opportunity to delve into that as a part of this as well. I think that's great. I'm glad you have that picture.
I know.
That was definitely before my time. And I've been here all my life.
And that, oh yeah, it was way before your time. And actually, the house that it was a part of, when they sold the house, and the purchasers had agreed to put the bell tower, there was a bell tower on the building, and they had agreed to put it back up, but they didn't, and it's now in their backyard.
Wow. I'm wondering how big is that? And is it in their backyard, like as a display for them, or just sitting there? I wonder if that's something that they would be willing to donate some to.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. I think it's just sitting there. I mean, you can't see it walking down the street. So if it's for display, it's for them individually.
Mm-hmm.
I did look up the school in Georgetown. It was the William C. Jason Comprehensive High School.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It wasn't started till 1950.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was started before that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is Sister Delima unmuted?
She's the 645 number, I believe.
I am now.
Oh, okay. So before Jason, there was a school that you guys attended here, isn't there?
Yeah, it's up at the DuPont Avenue School.
Mm-hmm.
Back on DuPont Avenue, grades 1 through 8. We didn't have kindergarten at the time, or at least not for African American students.
Miss Charlotte has her hand up.
I did some oral interviews several years ago, and I don't remember what the project was. We were doing it, and I was fascinated. That's why, Rachel, when you talked about the school, I had spoken to some folks who have since died, who said that within Lewis and within Sussex County, once you finish the 8th grade, you had to go to Dover, at which point Dell State was not Dell State University. It was Dell State High School. And that's where African Americans went for their high school education. And I hope when this group who's working on education looks into it, we look at the impact on the family. Because what I got out of my oral interviews was African American families are very close, but for a child to go to Dover to school, she had to board with somebody, and it meant family separation. And there was trauma involved with, going to high school, but leaving your family in Sussex County because there was no way to commute to Dell State every day for high school. And I got that from the several people that I had. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. They didn't lose their families, but just a young child at in the eighth grade, you're 13. So at 13,
Yeah.
when you're used to light, nice, rural Sussex, Lewis, all of a sudden you're in Dover, living either with strangers that your family may have arranged or a relative if you're lucky, so that you could go to high
Yeah.
school. But it wasn't Georgetown. It was Dover.
Yeah,
And Miss Charlotte, go ahead.
Yes.
I hear someone else.
I was going to say, to follow up on that, a friend of mine who I was, who gave me all the background because she had been born in, she was 1953 to 1966 when she attended the schools. And she was saying her parents had to go to Wilmington for high school
Right.
and bus all the way there from Lewis.
Yeah, and that's truly true.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing,
Yeah.
besides looking in the archives, I think it was this Vondel ladies asked me several years ago to talk about African American life. And where I found most information was on the internet, and from people like Sylvester Wolford, who is quite the historian, especially African American history. And there's much on the internet about education in Sussex County, pre-Brown versus the Board of Education. Number one, there's a very lengthy history of all of the DuPont schools. And within that history, they also talk about segregation, the school situation, the impossibility of having stable school placements here in Sussex. So I hope within the research that we'll go even beyond the archives. If you want to look at the history.
We have to. Yeah, we'll have to.
And though I
what
haven't
was gonna
signed up for
ask you-
any group, I'd be willing to help out with that. I've been reluctant because I know that I've made too many promises. But I wouldn't mind helping out with that. So long as somebody tells me what to do.
That would be great, Charlotte. And Sue and Susan and I, if we could be a group, and researching the education, that would be wonderful.
And I know Miss Hattie Ball also had mentioned that she was going to try to dial into this call this evening, but she was also interested in the educational aspect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Miss Charlotte, you working on the Nassau School.
We tried. I mean, they unfortunately the Department of Transportation pulled some questionable things with us. We were waiting to hear back from them, but they have turned the Nassau School over to the Lewis, what is it called? The Lewis Greater Foundation.
Oh no.
And
were you able to get any historical information about that school?
I have lots of information about the Nassau School. Again, all off the internet and the writings that I found of all of the DuPont schools. There's a lot about that Nassau School. And there are people still in the Belltown area who attended that Nassau School. Talking about oral interviews, there are many people still living who attended that school. And some who also taught in that school. But I'm sorry to say the person that's the chair of the Nassau Coalition, Drew McKay, has been working with a Department of Transportation, and we were both shocked to find out they left us out of the process and have a solid agreement with the
Lewis
Lewis Greater Foundation, which is quite a disappointment.
I am surprised too.
It is, yeah, because and that's why we haven't really gotten back to the community.
Okay. Thank you.
So we have money sitting in a bank account that was given to us for the Nassau School, I mean, there were many things we have to settle at this point.
Okay, we'll talk.
Yeah, we need to talk
Thank
more
you.
about that because we made a promise and it looks like we haven't lived up to our promise. Don't never trust bureaucrats.
Mhm.
But Charlotte, is there any way that they could designate what part of the DuPont school and off Blockhouse Pond, what part of that was the DuPont school as part of the walking tour? Because wasn't that a DuPont school?
That was a DuPont school.
It was a
And
different.
that was in Lewis. I mean, that was not Belltown, that was Lewis.
Right,
So
right. And
Yeah.
that was the official one for Lewis.
Yeah, so maybe since we didn't get that, maybe that's something that could be part of the walking tour to walk by the DuPont school that was in Lewis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the person who knows the most about the DuPont schools in Lewis is Sylvester Wolford. I don't know, any of you know him?
Yeah.
I've heard him speak at some events, and I think what
It was
didn't he
at
even
Miss Charlotte's event. It was at
Yeah,
the
at a
Southern
couple of
Delaware
our events.
Alliance.
Reverend McCafferty, you met him because you're on the
Yeah.
Nassau Coalition, and we had him there. And
Yeah.
he's always available. He's always available.
And actually, he sent me remember he did that big presentation of all the Nassau schools? He sent me he sent that to me, so I can share that.
He works very closely with the Lewis Library in making presentations. So even though he lives up in Camden, these days everything's by Zoom, so it doesn't make any difference where you live.
You know what I thought would be neat, Charlotte, would be if when we do the walking tour, if we could have a segment that you could put your phone up to and it would record Mr. Wolf speaking about what he knew about it.
He would love something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's easy to do. They do that in Wilmington. So
that's why you all who's ever in charge should make sure you develop that relationship with Sylvester.
But I mean, with any of our tours, with the tour of the women, with the tour of, whatever the tour of the Manhattan, if we could have, or the Happy Day Club, Trina could do a video, an audio, that would be a cool thing to actually have Lewis people talking.
Absolutely.
My sister has a great oral history that she has documented about the beginnings of that and how it all started in my grandmother's and grandfather's house. Kind of like a little speakeasy.
Nice.
That would be wonderful, Trina.
So I've been gleaning information from her as well. So and it's really comical the way she talks about it, because she has a storytelling type vibe with her, and so if we do ever get to that, she would be the go-to person for that, for me to do that, or that oral piece that may be on recording.
That would be good.
Yeah. Trina, when you were off, several people asked for information about who's on what committees, so that they can choose who they would like to work with. So I told them we'd get that out to them.
Okay, yes, I'll resend that spreadsheet. Not everybody really chose, some people said both. So, both time periods, but I will resend that, what I have out.
Okay, and you have it broken down by category also, right?
I
if you're interested in school and education, or?
No, I don't necessarily have that. I have the summary of the different submissions, but I don't have.
So we can separate that out. Okay.
Yes.
We'll get it. Okay.
And
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to tell you, Reverend McCafferty, the dates of the Peninsula Art Gallery show are February the 13th through March the 27th.
February 13th.
Yeah, through March
Okay.
27th. And I think Tony is thinking about reaching out to the library and possibly the school district to kind of get a video of Dane kind of talking about some of his images so that the kids could hear him talk as well as have him show us the images. So that would be cool. And he might want to partner with the Southern Alliance too, because that's something they would definitely be interested in.
Yeah, we'd be interested in advertising that. Is there a flyer to talk about this opening?
Well, if you call Tony, I mean, they're coming out with that. I don't know that they've gotten that all together. They have a little bit of one with like an image and stuff, but I don't think they actually have, their final flyer.
Okay, because I know Calvin, who's here, would love to put that up on our website, wouldn't we, Calvin?
Yeah. Hi, Calvin.
Yeah, as soon as we get something, we can put it up.
And as you know, as all of you know, we have the St. George Cemetery, and I believe the earliest person over there was 1838. And we have some Buffalo soldiers buried in that cemetery, and we have gathered some information about them. So that's a tremendous part of our history that we would want to highlight also.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Or Sister Trina, I'll give it back to you now that you're back.
Okay, just a discussion. Okay, yeah, this is excellent. I think we, excuse me. I think we went. I know we've gone all over all the attachments, and so and we've had our discussion and question and answers period, and I think that's pretty much it. But I would like to say if anybody runs into any questions or concerns or what have you, then please feel free to reach out to us. We'll try to get back to you as quickly as we can, but just trudge on.
Yeah, you're doing really good. It's exciting.
Slightly off subject, could I just ask about how Reverend Edwards and his home and what's, what's going on with that? I know you sent a couple of emails. Is there any update on that?
I don't have any additional information other than what I sent out and the ways that everyone could participate in trying to help them rebuild. I know they have a lot going on, so I kind of just call and say, hi, how you doing? I'm checking in on you. And as we all do, we always say we're good. There's nothing you could right now, but I'm sure that whatever, even if it's a phone call, to just let them know that you're thinking about them, that would be wonderful.
Trina, what's missing? Because I wanted to send an email blast to our membership, but we need a story. And all you sent us is Reverend Edwards' name and where to send a check, but there's nothing I have to say that Reverend Edwards, chair of the African American Commission, house was destroyed, but, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, I haven't even seen it in the newspaper. Has it hit the newspapers? There's nothing.
I just heard from somebody who I had asked. They said, I forget when we asked, I forget who it was, but they said it was in garage And the garage,
Yeah.
Yeah, now I know all of that, but to appeal to the bigger community, somebody's got to write what we call a one-pager. And then we can send it out to our 1,400 members and saying, if you know Reverend Edwards and he is the chair of this commission, and he's homeless at this point, please make a donation to wherever. But there has to be something more than, I mean, because our folks will probably say, well, who's Reverend Edwards? There's nothing there. There's no story. So I guess I'm just suggesting that maybe, and I've said this to Bernice and to other of the church members, that if you can't ask for money without telling people what happened. And
yeah, and I do think that should come from his church.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll talk to some of the members and see if they can put together something for you.
Will they put together like a fund or a 501c3, or can the church do something like that for the whole community? And then we can just, like Charlotte said, then we could spread the word.
I suggested a GoFundMe page, and they don't seem to want to do that.
Well, because you fund me, they take a percentage. Where if you do a 501c3, not only do you get a deduction, they don't take.
Right. Okay.
They don't take a percentage.
But if it's donated directly to the church, then you don't have to create another organization, and that's already charitable.
Yeah.
Well, the money's going to go to the bank, though. It's not going to go to the church. They're working with M&T.
No.
they changed that.
That
They
changed.
changed that.
I just sent a check to Reverend Edwards, yeah.
Creating a 501c3 is a very long process.
Yeah,
I think that if you want quick donations, it needs to be either in the church's name or something, like that.
But something has to be out there. And as I said, and I don't want to create the narrative because I'm not that familiar with the narrative. Somebody who's close, somebody from that church or from his family. As I reminded Bernice Edwards that she is the family member and should be creating something if she wants us to intervene via the alliance.
Yeah, so
Probably the best thing would be to donate it to the church with his name in the memo line. Then
you still need a narrative.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Is
we'll
this
talk
Bernice?
to them and get them to, or if they need help, we'll help them write up something.
Yeah, just a paragraph. It's just
a comprehensive thing. Okay.
Throw in that the son and the granddaughter are equally affected.
Is this Bernice Edwards' home?
No.
That's her brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw them yesterday. My wife made some gumbo for them, enough for like a couple of weeks.
We lost you, Calvin.
They seem to be doing okay. They're in the Residence Inn in like right off of Route 24, the new one that just opened. So Reverend Edwards said that, he's sure that his insurance company is going to take care of them.
Right.
They're going to have to just tear down the whole house and just start over again, unfortunately. They can't save anything. So, and I think they've lost most of their possessions. Unfortunately.
Dramatic thing.
Yeah.
That's the traumatic.
Yeah.
But
how about his car, Calvin? He also left his car too.
Yeah. His car is gone too. They're going to replace his car. Yeah.
Excuse me. We don't want to get too many details. We're on a public meeting right now, and but we will get the information out to you. We will talk to the family because again, the church should be doing that.
Or the commission.
Okay, well,
I think there are no more concerns. You have another concern, Sister Sister
Nope,
Trina?
I was getting ready to let
Okay.
you end the
Okay,
meeting.
yeah. Okay. We thank you all for your participation, and again, appreciate all of your input and your work, and just stay encouraged, because this is something that is desperately needed, and it's something that will live much longer than any of us. So God bless you and thank you, and this meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you for your leadership, Reverend McCafferty.
God
And
bless
you
you.
too,
Thank
Trina.
you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, good night.